Welcome, everybody, to the DTC show, the show that no marketer, no SaaS provider, nobody that wants you to make money wants you to know about. And we are bringing it to you live with 6 O's and the wonderful, wonderful Phoenix. Take it away.
Guys, we have so many segments that are just killer and also a little spicy. Got into it a little bit. We've got the D2C news of the week. We have SaaS Survivor. I have the Phoenix Solves Attribution. I'm Phoenix, by the way. You're welcome. The Win This merch and the Cops and Rabahs. Also theme songs, so you can't miss this. Join us.
It's the DTC Show. Jump right in, you better get on it fast so you don't miss anything with Rabah and Jess. It's the latest news and some random ass guest. All your favorite segments that you are obsessed. Win so much, be a part of the show. Get your ass up in the chat and let it all flow. So jump right in, there is so much to know. It's your number one marketing show.
Wow. My heart's beating. So
This
good.
That is half of the production
90s.
budget right there.
Oh God, that was great, Jess. That was well done. Well done.
So we got a fun show. Wanted to do a live show with some interesting people, interesting character. We have Phoenix, which we'll get to in a little bit. We're going to talk about some news. We're going to do some other fun segments. We'll definitely be giving away merch. If you want to be on the merch giveaway, we're going to spin the wheel at the end. Get up in the chat. It's actually Nicole who's producing it right now. It's going to put your name on the wheel. So I don't know if you got to suck up to her or whatever, but just get in the chat something funny, something witty, and then she'll get you on there. But yeah, we can get started with the first segment. Nicole, do you want to? First segment is the guest in 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. These backdrops are phenomenal.
Are we blessed to have the greatest guest? Let's hear your story in the 10 seconds that we have left.
Wow. Thank you.
So good.
All right, this go, Phoenix, go.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Haw. I thought it was somebody else. Hi, I'm Phoenix Haw. I'm the CEO of Bad Beacon. I used to be a media buyer, but now I'm not a...
Sounds amazing, but we gotta go. If you want to know more, check the description below.
That was fun. I'm sure we'll get to know you over the course of this show, Phoenix.
I'm sure.
Don't feel bad. All right, now moving on to the very next segment. Nicole, here we are, the D2C news of the week. We've got a few items worth talking about here.
It's your DTC news of the week, the latest news with a spicy critique.
Feeding mouths with these jingles, Rabah, I swear.
Wow. I mean, hey, the kid don't miss. The kid don't miss.
Yeah, so we got a couple things worth talking about. If you're up in the chat, let us know if you have opinion on some of these things. But let's just start with the first one, Nicole. So I know that this has been like sort of talked to death on Twitter, but not everyone is like fully clued in on sort of what's going on here. Robert, do you have any sort of initial takes on the solo brands and the Snoop Dogg marketing situation?
Yeah. So one, I think they're actually running the solo brand is actually being ran fairly well. But the market just doesn't agree. So they've just been getting absolutely just pummeled. And in terms of this, my take is this wasn't the straw, like this wasn't the reason why this person was let go. It was just kind of either the straw that broke the camel's back, where this was kind of just a last ditch Hail Mary, and things just didn't land where they didn't land. But somebody in either the C-suite position, especially in a leadership position, CEO, very rarely is it going to be something that kicks you out. Like it's usually going to be an aggregation of things. And candidly, what happens is you basically lose the troops. So your other lieutenants and your other C-suites start to lose kind of trust in you, et cetera, et cetera. Then the board sees this, and then you kind of get shoved out, and then people experience the world of narratives. this was an easy narrative to be like, hey, this person did this, it didn't work out, now we're letting them go, versus actually telling the truth of what happened. So I think it was a little overblown in terms of the why, but it made for great stories. To be fair, though, like, oh my god, this guy got smoked because he did this up and
Right.
smoke campaign. Like, so,
Well,
but what's your take?
one of the things that bothers me was that the campaign didn't work or wasn't successful, because clearly from the level of attention it got, it was. In my own personal experience, I didn't even really know or understand Solo Stove before, and after the campaign, I was literally on their website, and then I went through the rabbit hole of like googling Solo Stove versus other brands on YouTube, and I was like so
Right.
close to buying it for Black Friday, but I ultimately it's the winner, and I didn't need one. But that's not to say I and millions of other people aren't in their funnel. Come spring or whenever, the buying behavior is different. So I would say this campaign is absolutely a success.
Is it a success or not a success?
I think it's
I'm confused
a
now.
success. They said, the Solo Stove people are saying it wasn't a success because it didn't lead to sales for that particular period.
Was that the goal, to lead to sales? I mean, you would assume like anything would be a goal would be to lead to sales, but that's not exactly true either, right? It's that
Yep.
this beautiful word we love, brand awareness or phrase. I think it did its job, right? It got people talking. We all talked about it. I thought it was a really cool idea, but this is like a perfect example of like not every idea is going to convert.
Hmm.
But we're talking about it and we're discussing it. I think also too, we were like a lot of people were the first to throw the team that we know publicly was doing the media buying under the bus. And I think it's also interesting to talk about like, look, there are so many layers to brand awareness. There are so many layers to marketing. What we are so focused on is performance marketing. And we have to come back to the core. Like, is this the core demographic?
Hmm.
People who smoke copious amounts of weed, maybe. And look, we just have to be honest with it. And also, I would challenge too and say, was there like a sub campaign prepped for performance purposes? I think the assumption was where they were wrong. The assumption that Snoop would move units, I think, was wrong to begin with. There should have been a tactical plan in place if performance was the goal. So that's my opinion on it. I do think it was a success to some degree.
One thing that also bothers me as a creative is, I thought the campaign ideas were great, and a lot of people were like, "It'll go on to win awards or whatever." But I actually think it won't win awards because a lot of these creative awards, especially for the stuff that goes viral, they also win the awards if the campaign was quote unquote a success or there was business metrics attached to it, and that's how, like when you submit these things, you include that in the case study. But for the like the new CEO to cast aspersions on the creative kind of like kills it in the sort of the award circle, which kind of bothers me as a creative.
Do you
Yeah.
guys remember? Sorry, Robert, go for it.
No, I was just say, I think Corey's comment was very astute, where success and failure through different lenses. And I totally agree with you, Jess. Like once you break the fourth wall or you lose the confidence in X, Y, and Z, then all the kind of quirkiness goes out the window. Where it's like, oh, and you just start to frame it in a different place in your head. But for me, I think there was two reasons that it did not succeed or succeed in terms of driving like proper acquisition, sales, etc. One, to your point, Phoenix, like Snoop, I think there's reach and impact. Snoop has a ton of reach,
Hmm.
but in terms of the TAM that the people that buy these products from Solo Stove, like he just doesn't have a lot of impact in that community. And so this was a huge reach, but no impact. So to Phoenix's point, what you can do is have some sort of follow on where there could have been a Snoop stove, or there could have been something that like, okay, maybe I can now get closer to Snoop, but this just seemed like a celeb endorsement. And the worst part for me was that sometimes there's an intimacy attached to whether, I mean, obviously addiction, we don't want to support that, but if you enjoy a drink or you might enjoy putting some think vapor in the air, there's an intimacy attached to that. And then you see somebody that is very well known in that space say, hey, this is dumb, blah blah blah, basically negative on it, right? Like, oh my gosh, if this guy's going to quit, maybe I should quit. Like, and so you get into this kind of self introspection, like basically a place you don't want to be when people are giving you money. And
Yeah.
then okay, I finally go through all that. Oh, by the way, psych. Like that's a really not great emotional roller coaster to go on that you're now going to attach to the brand where it's like, I trusted you. I was in, this is cool. I'm going down this pathway. And then you're like, oh, you really lied to me. So I think that was one of the biggest problems I had with the campaign was the psychological cost that ended up being very high.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the Tarte shape tape, or the not shape tape, the Tarte campaign that happened, I think, almost a year prior?
Mm-mm.
No.
So it's very similar case study. I'm going to call it a case study. Yeah, so Tarte brought back the idea of a brand trip. And what they did is they brought like a bunch of huge, I would say, influencers on this trip to Dubai, full Emirates trip, like
Sounds
first
familiar
class.
now. Yeah.
Got this like crazy Bedouin suite tent thing for them.
Yeah.
Like they just, all they did was, go on TikTok and get ready with me's, etc. And it was like the biggest talk of the town. And then I think a week or 2 weeks later, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're fired our marketing team, and it was not lucrative whatsoever in terms of sales and moving units, etc."
Right.
Yeah.
And there was all this conversation of, was this a PR move to even go and be public about the flop of the campaign? Was it actually a flop? I did a full thing about this. And in the end, I always find it like such an interesting thing when leadership decides to
Interesting take.
humble any type
Yep.
of effort and not take full responsibility in understanding as a CEO. Now I have a different lens where going, it was your responsibility to gauge risk. And it was your responsibility for a lot of different things. And for you to just say that it was a disaster, it wasn't.
Right.
Spin it for the benefit of what you need it to be spun on. So I would just say, think about that Tarte case study from a year ago.
Yeah. Someone in the chat says it was a big Hail Mary. And
It's Rick, he
yeah.
over at Halle Brothers, really
And
good guy.
I agree. Like I've worked on these type of like cross your fingers, hope it goes viral campaigns, and it did that. It went viral. To expect it to go like viral and another Hail Mary of generate a bunch of sales is like is expectations that are way inflated. But we can move on to the next news item. Rabah, you'll have to tell me why this is here and what's going on.
I just love so Arizona tea is like the heuristic for the economy. Like if the Arizona tea is over the 99 cent, the economy. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just love the when brands get quirky and when it's done really well. So for me, this is just a really well done kind of merch collab with Arizona tea and the Heritage Collection. And so I just wanted to surface it because I thought it was gas. And they actually did some really cool stuff, Arizona tea, a while back with Adidas. They did some really cool custom sneaker, not custom, but collab sneakers and stuff. So I just find it really awesome when brands do this. Like on the shameless plug, the DTC Hunter, we did the whole kind of like 7-Eleven has a really interesting merch store play right now. So I think there's just a certain vector of being able to have people want to put your brand on their body, but that's a bar. I love that. That's a bar, Rick. I just think because I've been in SaaS, right? And so it's just like SaaS is cool because you're using a product, but at the same time, there's nothing like when I talk to all these D2C founders, like there's nothing that makes your soul sing more than you seeing somebody wearing your product. And I think that these brands can, if you do it well, it becomes a really incredible emotional tie that not only do you get the emotional output, but you also get the promotion. Like when you wear something, you're implicitly endorsing it. So I just thought it was just a really well done collab from kind of an old, I don't want to say Arizona is like an old and crusty brand, but it's like the OG, kind of 7-Eleven style, like very, I wouldn't call it a very modern brand. And when they do really cool things like this, it makes me smile because I think it's very, very value additive to the brand. And now people that might want an Arizona tea are probably going to buy one because it brings up a little bit of a trigger. So
yeah, and you do need to bring talent to this if you're going to execute on it, because the last thing you want to do is be like, assume people want to wear your brand and put out something that looks terrible or looks ridiculous or uncool or whatever. And so they are bringing the talent. Yeah.
Which happens all the time. By the way, so you're saying like, we'll get to know you a little bit better. So Jess doesn't know this. I think Rabah does. I come from collaborations. That was my job. So when I was working at Supra Footwear way back when, my job was to find, I would say, dynamic collaborations with brands or other artists that made sense, that aligned, and then we reached out. Some were absolute flops. Shout out to the Disney and Super collaboration, which I was not a part, like didn't, anyway. I was there, but I wasn't the one who decided on it, right? And it just didn't click. And then there were some where like it was Badwood, which was this really small, I would say, artist in the area, and she had really sick designs, but it just aligned and it just clicked, and then it sold out within minutes. This is such a beautiful example. I'm really glad you brought it up. There have been some Rabah that you've posted where I go, oh God, and I'm pretty vocal about it. Where I'm like, I don't like this. This rubs me
which
so
one?
Yeah,
wrong.
name names.
Yeah, you got to bring receipts. I have
I don't
phenomenal
want to
taste
do
in
this to you,
collabs.
Rabah, because you own one of them. But
Oh,
it's
if you're gonna
like,
attack me for the Gucci North
no,
Face, uh,
no, not the
that's
Gucci
one of my
North
favorite
Face.
collabs. You hate it? Okay.
No, that wasn't it. But the Swarovski and Nike.
Oh,
Anyway,
the
um,
Nike cactus plant. Oh, come on, those are phenomenal.
yeah, see,
Erroneous,
yeah, to each their
erroneous.
own.
I do not.
Erroneous. I like
Yeah,
my style. It's
yeah.
okay. No, I would just say, look, like there's some collaborations. I think Adidas did a few that I felt were just so choice and didn't really hit the mark. It was almost forced. It's just like any relationship. It's forced, it's awkward, it's weird. This is awesome. Why?
Yeah.
Because they hit nostalgic points. That can. How many of us drank
Right.
a shit ton of that can? It's awful for you. But it's something that we resonate with. And then it also goes into street, right? And then a little bit of normcore. And you see that and you're going, fuck yeah. And you know that, right? And then you've got wearable pieces. So you've got the middle, which is middle class America. Like middle America would wear that sweater, right? That pinkish sweater. And then you go more towards the trendy, and that denim piece can be, you don't even know that it's Arizona. You don't even care that it is. So it hits every single, the three highlighted. I thought it was genius. You said you killed it, Jess. You have to have talent to execute something well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is hard.
let's get to I think we have time for one more news segment for the bunch of other stuff. And I do think this one is important. Temu is on the block like nothing else. They've spent, when I read this article, they've spent like 1.2 billion on Meta in 2023, which is an insane amount. And a lot of times when I hear like people worry about political campaigns spending on Meta and inflating CPMs and stuff, but in general, I feel like those political campaigns, they're probably not conversion targeted. They're probably not like this buyer pool that they're tapping. But I do feel that Temu, that's a lot of money to be going after, app installs and probably a lot of conversion targeted type people. And I'm curious if people are worrying about Temu, or like, I don't think they're competing with like moms and pops. Like it's Amazon garbage as well, but it's a big force in the market.
Yeah. Well, first off, just wrapping up the last segment, Vacation Inc. Lex, they did do a really cool collab. Love Vacation Inc. And yeah, promoting Nike sneakers. Get off my back. Get off my back, Phoenix. I guess before we get into it, though, Jess, do you want to bring the listeners along and kind of give them the like 10-second overview of what Temu is for people that aren't familiar?
Yeah, Temu is like a shopping app type thing, similar to Amazon, similar level of quality to like the like Fandy or knockoff Amazon level stuff.
Like
and
Wish.com-ish.
And I very much had the experience like 2 weeks ago. I was on the toilet. I was on Reddit. I saw I clicked the app, and then all of a sudden I was just gamified into this. There's like spinning wheels, and there was timers, and all of a sudden I had quote unquote purchased like $300 worth of stuff for $34, and I was like, what? I went through that experience.
You're weak, Jess. Weak.
I am, and my wife also went that experience with clothes, and what we both found out is that it's worse than the knockoff stuff from Amazon. Like I threw away half the things that I already got because they're just garbage. And so
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a behavior that I would be to be like, oh, I need a battery charger. I'm going to go to Temu or something. Like I've had the Temu experience and I'm all set with it. So I wonder about the long-term stickiness of that,
I mean, I can jump in because I'm so butthurt about it, but I lost a ton of money on Wish.com. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. They had figured it out, blah, blah, blah. And the challenge is once you get burnt, you're like, and no judgment, like people, are at different stages in their life, in their career, in their financial journey, but like once you have a little bit of money and then you buy crappy things, it's almost like you'll never do it again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the challenge when you have these brands that are very price sensitive, where it's like, hey, I'm only shopping because the only reason I'm buying this is because of X or Y or Z price point, not because it's going to create utility in my life. And then once you realize, oh my gosh, like this thing is actually really, really crappy, and there's not a lot of utility being created because it's either breaking or it's just a bad experience or it just feels cheap. Like, I think it's hard to keep that kind of, I don't want to call it like huckstery or whatever, but it seems a little bit like, how many times can you fool more people? And a lot of
Right.
times you can't, like, you can't, what is it? You can't fool everybody. Like that. I'm losing the line, but there's a really
That's
great
that's
quote out there
how
where
that's how Bush messed it up too. So I think you're in good company.
Oh, we're making it political. Cute.
mission accomplished, Jess.
Just to
But
counter,
that's, yeah, go ahead, Phoenix. Sorry.
no, just to counter what Corey's saying, he said, I think the problem is Meta enabling them to effectively
Thanks for stopping
decimate
in,
the
Rick.
auction. What was that?
Oh, I was just telling Rick, thanks for stopping in. I was given the edict to make sure the chat feels involved by Jess.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm reading the chat. So decimate the auction in a number of categories with relatively low quality ads and products, huge budgets forcing small businesses to compete in auctions with the conglomerate more than ever. It's a bad look for Meta in regards to their pro small business PR campaign. So my counter to that is, what would you do? Like if you're Meta and you're getting a shit ton of spend, you're not going to question it. You don't care about the small guys. It's a PR effort to care
Yeah,
about the small guys.
that's all it is PR campaigns for Meta.
Right. I know. And look, if you had a heart, 100%, I completely like let's just be honest with each other. It's not the case. So like, from our perspective, I think like, yeah, ad inventory, it's going to be a tough situation. And again, we talked about like the political ads that are coming out soon and all that. I just kind of, I just deal with what we have right now and just hope for the best. Also, to your point, Rabah, your core demo that you're looking for, I guarantee you, in the products that you're selling, or your clients that products that are selling are probably not in line with Temu. And if they are, then that's a whole other problem. So I'm not too worried about it. It is what it is. It actually forces us to be a lot more compelling with our advertising and a lot more creative. Just spreading shit for the sake of spreading shit doesn't always, reap rewards. So just remember that as well.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the too long didn't read here is, if you're competing on price, you're gonna have a really hard time with the longevity of it. When you're giving out things that aren't giving people some semblance of delight or utility, it's going to be a really big challenge, because ultimately, like, there's going to be no brand equity. And so, I mean, I guess to push back, like, it's like, what budget retailer at like wish.com failed? This is doing, this is, you can blitz people with money, but that doesn't mean you have a good business. Like, you're just spending a crap ton of money. And so I think that this model has been tried, and it's just it's an kind of like economic arbitrage ish, because they're getting it so cheap, but there's no real value in the product. Like the value is supposedly in the feeling that you had, Jess, if I'm saving this amount of money. It's actually not receiving their product. So I'm pretty bearish on this. And the last thing I'll say is, like, I know some people doing numbers on some businesses, but by no means are they big enough to have to start to worry about macro effects. Like, it's good to have it top of mind, but you're just not that big, candidly. Like, you just concentrate on your micro. You're not a Walmart, you're not a Target, you're not going to be affected by these big macro events. Like, it's good to have it top of mind, but so that's kind of my little hot take on, in terms of, because there's going to be a ton of money being poured in with Temu, with the politics, et cetera, but it's really, unless you're a monster, it's not going to affect you.
Okay. So I think that's it for the news. Nicole, if you want to move into SaaS Survivor.
Oh, man. These are so good.
SaaS Survivor, there can be only one software provider.
So all of these segments and the show in general is as MVP. I don't know if these segments are going to be good or not. We're going to find out. So the thinking here is that We're going to put some SaaS companies that we use in our businesses on the list. We can get some suggestions from the chat as well.
Yep.
And then once we have too many, the next time we do this, we're going to add some more and figure out who do we have to take off. And hopefully by the end, we'll have the only SaaS that you need to survive. So get in the chat with your suggestions. I'll just start by saying I'd love to put Triple Whale on there. Nicole, if you could do that.
Ouch, Jess.
So I don't use Ad Beacon. I use what I use.
Sounds like a personal problem. We'll fix that later. Don't worry about it. I have no
Shots
problem with
fired
Triple Whale.
already.
But geez, like the first one, you're like, hey, I'll get the CEO of Ad Beacon on, but I'm going to put Triple Whale first on the board and then expect Phoenix to say nothing.
This is like a Jerry Springer show. Oh, by the way, come around back.
Maury.
Triple Whale.
Let's see in 2 weeks if it gets replaced by something new. You never know.
Never know.
But what do you guys use, Rabah and Phoenix?
Weird. So I'm going to put Ad Beacon on the board real quick. You want? I was not even going to do it. I was going to be super humble, but you just shots fired.
I'm into. Can I do Fantastical?
Yeah. What? Okay. What is it? I don't use that personally.
It's a calendaring app, and so it allows you to do a bunch of like fancy calendaring. So I have my calendar. Yeah, it's super.
Okay, so Nicole, if you can put Notion on there, and then Rabah, have you used the calendar app?
Yes.
Thank you, Corey.
Love it. The Notion calendar app is great. Well, the icon is atrocious. So it's very interesting how much that annoys me. I think it's like my OCD, but it's very hit. The UI is actually great, but the motion calendar icon's atrocious. And there's no mobile app, which is a little bit of a hang up for some people. But yeah, I love it. I think it's everything that I wanted. I was actually hacking something together because I do all of our content calendaring, all of our events, everything in Notion. And so I was hacking something together to bring in my calendar, because sometimes it would be hard to say, okay, we're having this event, but maybe I have a podcast, et cetera, et cetera. So the singularity view is pretty strong, and it's free. So it's pretty cool. And you can jump into the projects pretty easily. So it's strong.
Sweet. So Abood in the chat says Elevar.
Nicole, they just got bought. Powerful Brad. Let's go. Get the bag. Yeah, they just got acquired.
I don't use it personally, but I do trust that team for sure. And a lot of people that I do trust use Elevar as well.
Yeah. Okay, we got Notion. I mean, I can keep going. Barry, how do you not have any software that you use? Make ugly ads.
If you could put Motion on there, Motion is a pretty powerful tool for us.
Powerful, Rosa.
Unfortunately, it's 10 times as good as the Creative Cockpit from Triple Whale, but dedicated team, you know how it is.
Man, look at you, fair and balanced, huh? You're putting Triple Whale on the board and then just taking hacks. Like, gee, this is great.
I'm confused. I'm on like a date that's just super confused.
This guy is good.
I have issues with Triple Whale. I mean, we don't need to get into it, but it's not perfect.
Are we going Slacks? Can we put Slack?
Yeah. I was gonna say Slack. Yeah, I was worried that someone was gonna grill me, but I prefer Slack over anything.
Yeah.
Do we? Okay. Is CapCut considered a SaaS?
Sure.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Then CapCut.
Yeah. I pay them money.
Yeah, I pay them money too. So do I.
So Phoenix, I've grown up in the Adobe sphere. Do I need to learn how to use CapCut or not?
You don't even have to learn. No. You're gonna go in there and blink, and you're gonna be upset. Actually, you're going to be very upset because you spent all this time learning, I'm sure, Adobe and Photoshop. And then you go into, put Canva in there too. And then CapCut just came in.
Figma. What's up with all the caps? Are people mad at us? What's going on here? Barry, Lex, are you guys okay? Blink twice.
Oh, the king of ugly ads has arrived.
Yeah, Barry's great.
There
was one.
Before we get that, can we get ChatGPT up on there, because I use that a lot, particularly on the design side of things. And so that's 10. So anything else that we want to put on there, something's get taken away. Figma. It's like Figma or Canva.
Yeah.
Is Figma better than Canva? I actually don't.
Can we do a off right now for Figma or Canva? Because we have 3 of us. So which one do we want to elevate? I'm team Canva. I love Figma, but I think Canva's better.
I'm Team Canva as well. I don't use
See,
Figma.
Jess, it doesn't even matter.
Nice.
Asana, interesting. Okay. There's a
No.
huge debate between Asana, ClickUp, and I'm sure
Monday, they're all the
Monday.
same.
Can't
Yeah,
stand Monday, so let's not put that on there,
yeah.
please, unless we want to fight about it.
No, we're filled up, right? I think this is
Yeah.
the 10. This is the one we're
This
going
is
to battle.
Yep. So next week or the weekend after that, since it's every 2 weeks, we'll see if these 10 survive the onslaught of new suggestions as well.
Oh, should we put Vermont up there just because? I mean, I feel like it's so unfair. We've got Triple Whale, Ad Beacon. We should put Vermont up
No,
there.
let Fermat justify itself the following week. Let's just not have it up there just because. Let's have it do battle and see if it's victorious.
Love it. I love you guys.
Just know that I mentioned it. I need some points there. I got you, Rabah.
Okay, so then I think we can move on to the next segment. Phoenix.
Oh, that's it? Oh, I thought we got like voted shit off and stuff. That was it. We just made a list.
We'll do that.
That's so anticlimactic.
We'll do that next week.
Closed
we have
mouths
to set
get
the scene. This is like
Rabah, closed mouths don't get fed. That's how I got Ad Beacon on number 2.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, dude, yes, exactly. Fermat demos. Go buy all the Fermat demos.
There was confusion and data collusion. Phoenix is here to serve retribution.
My own song? You got to send me that soundbite forever. And I'll always give you credit.
So yeah, Phoenix wanted to have this segment just to, because I know that Ad Beacon has somehow solved attribution, and I'm curious how that is because there's so many attribution tools, and it's like it's a challenge to like use something new or whatever. And so I'm curious. I don't even know what you do.
You and everybody else. Don't worry about it.
So I'm curious.
What was this? Jordan Menard, favorite part was he was like, Phoenix, I'm really good friends with you, but like I don't even know what you do in general. Cause like one day you're doing this, cause like it doesn't matter. We'll go into that later. But yeah. Do you want me to give you my hot take about attribution tools and like this whole stance and why we're kind of making waves?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Number one is I didn't solve attribution. We didn't solve
That's not what the jingle says. But.
Okay, well then rewrite the jingle, Jess. But yeah, no. If the debate is who tracks better, I just feel like that's just such a missed flag, right? To me, it's like the line in the sand is first party data. We all track similarly. It's either server side or it's going to be pixel side with UTM. We do pixel side with UTM, very similar to that of Triple. I think Northbeam does do server side. Hyros does UTM as well and pixel. So like to me, I'm like, I'm not even going to play this game. We solidly track and we have a margin of error and I can prove it with our case studies. Fine. I just believe how you design a platform, what your goals are with that platform are really going to bring in the right audience. So for me, I built it for media buyers and agencies. Everything UI UX has been built for them, and the ease of use, etc., and the price point. So there's so much more there to describe other than just you solved attribution. I hope that kind of makes sense there.
No, it's interesting because like the accuracy question is a question without a right answer. There's no like truly accurate attribution. It's simply impossible. And so the different platforms, it's like we use machine learning, whatever, and they're just asking you to trust. And it's just, I don't know. It's just not, I feel like I need more than just like me opting in to trust you and your magic that you can't show me, you know?
I think Ad Beacon was a pure example of how my isms are showing, because for me, if it doesn't make sense, I just internally combust. So like for me, I just need proof. That's why we don't do view attribution or a blend of view and click or a proprietary attribution model. Because to me, if I can't explain it to you or someone can't understand it, we're already losing. So like for us, it's click attribution. It's super simplified. So if you align with that, fuck yeah, let's go. But if you don't align with it, that's okay. We might not be the right tool for you, but I need to be able to see the full customer journey with something definitive as a click and then sterilize the entire omni-channel journey so then I can make better decisions. So to your point, to solve attribution, you can only get as accurate as you possibly can. There's no such thing as 100% accuracy. So anybody who's claiming that, run. But yeah, we're just different.
So how different? Because we use, for most of our clients, we use the triple pixel. And I'm always interested in different tools and putting our clients on the different tools. But like Like, what's the difference? Well, what's the difference between, if it's not accuracy, can you give me like some concrete examples of why I might be more into Ad Beacon?
Yeah, so let's just say you're an agency, right? And you have multiple clients, et cetera. We actually fix the fee. So I'll just start with price because everyone cares about price, right? So we fix the
Mm.
fee. You're at $1,500 and you have 10 accounts, 10 domains, 10 stores you can hook up. It's fixed. It's a 90-day money back guarantee as well. So what does that mean? Agencies only incur about 150 per client, right? You can charge your clients up to retail, never above our retail. So it's going to help you out. However, the thing is that you get agency access to betas that were, in production, all the things that you want roadmapped. We really listen to you, and it's a community of what you want. And it's a different way, right? No
Mhm.
offense to Triple Whale, but Triple Whale owns your client. We said it completely different. We don't have access to your clients. You have access to your clients. If your clients churn under you, you can come back to us and ask, or your clients can come back to us and ask to reconnect, but they're going to have to pay retail. Okay. So that's one giant difference.
Mhm.
Number two is you can actually optimize in Ad Beacon. So you can turn on, off campaigns, ad sets, and ads. You can scale campaigns. We also have a Chrome extension, so you can overlay your data to work very quickly. And then also we took it up a notch for everything. We just put everything on steroids because we have first party data. I can tell you by ad what SKU people are buying, how many new versus returning customers, orders, revenue from each aspect. It's just so much more in depth for the media buyer rather than the C-suite.
Robert, do you have a retort to that, or are you in full agreement?
No, I mean, for me, I think there's two things that are challenging about the attribution market. I think one, exactly what Phoenix is saying, attribution is asymptotic. Like, no matter how good Ad Beacon gets, it's never going to be 100%. It's always going to be, it's asymptotic. That's my, to make sure people know that I'm smart using fancy words like that. But basically, it's two lines that will approach infinitely but never touch. And so you can always get better and better and better, but it's never going to be perfect. So I think that's the first thing. And I think the second thing was, in my experience in my previous role, one of the challenges was understanding how to frame attribution where people thought, or there was a perception for in certain areas that if I get an attribution tool, like, it makes my performance better. And that's just not necessarily
Mm.
true. Like, it'll give you more insight into the purchase so you can now deploy your capital more effectively and efficiently, but it doesn't have, like, it's not making the car faster. It's not making the brakes better. It's just giving you a better speedometer to understand how fast you're driving. And so I think that those were the two big hurdles that I found, where I think Phoenix is doing a really good job of explaining why they do a good job there and how they kind of think through those issues, because those are two big headwinds when it comes to attribution, or at least that was in my experience.
Hmm.
We had a really good podcast, shameless plug for Fail with Fire, with Jimmy Kim from Sunlane.
Yeah,
And
love
he
Jimmy.
talks about it beautifully about how a SaaS platform is here to help you, not to solve all your problems. And beautifully said, Rava. So thanks.
No, yeah.
Interesting. My general take on all attribution. I don't know if you guys seen The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage.
Oh
No,
my god,
it's such a great movie.
is
Have you
that on
I
the
thought
same level as,
Anchorman.
like, I was thinking Wicker Man. So
No,
we're all over the
no,
Anchorman,
place.
Wickerman,
no,
The
no.
Weatherman.
bees,
It's peak Nicolas Cage. Anyway, so he's a weatherman, and he feels down on himself, and his dad's like, it's like, you're good at your job. You predict the weather, and he's like, Dad, I don't predict the weather. It's just wind. It blows all over the fucking place. And so that's why how I feel with
Yeah,
like attribution is just like you could slice and dice it in so many ways. And it was real challenging for me to transition a lot of our clients from looking at
that's
in
hard.
platform to just trust. Even when like it's not challenging when the data matches up, but when the data is like this, it's like it's just real hard for me to trust some other company that's saying the opposite, you know?
Super uncomfy. Yeah. Yeah. Especially when your like results on Meta look so good sometimes. And
Yep.
you're like, I got like a 4 return, look at all this revenue. But then you go back and you're like, this is, it ethically comes back down to, is this right? Do you feel confident? The biggest I think changed for me because I'm a media buyer too. So I would go back into Meta, and what would happen is there's missing data. That was my first giant red flag, which is still the case, by the way. And what it'll show is like 2 purchases and no purchase conversion value, or a purchase conversion value but no volume of purchases. And that was a guessing game. So let's just say there's 2 purchases, different SKUs, different price points, etc. It's scary. So then, Jess, you sit there and you're like, how am I supposed to make these decisions even though everything looks good? And then you go into like a triple, which is what you use. At least there's proof. At least there's a click journey there. There's, I think, also some
Yep.
view. But to me, I feel far more confident in my clients' dollars in my hands than I would be in this machine learning, trying to figure it out platform due to data privacy and security. And it's not even their fault. They're strapped. So yeah.
This is from I gotta read it because it's the boss's prerogative. I think modeling by the tool in a black box way is only bad, especially since cookies are being slowly turned off this year. Will create a big incentive to arbitrarily fill data to make it look good. Yeah, I don't know if I totally disagree with that. I think that there is definitely a certain aspect of like having a secret sauce is sexy. Whether that secret sauce works or not, I don't know, but there's again, the challenge is there's optics and there's reality. And like, if people experience the world in stories, and if you can build a very compelling narrative that people can buy into, no judgment on whether it's right or wrong. It's just that's a very good way to market. It is what it is.
Well, the secret sauce brings up the trust question. I
That's
remember
fair. That's fair.
when
Very
North
fair.
Beam first came around, I listened to like podcasts of that guy, and he kept talking about this magic secret sauce and never went into any other detail, and it just did not engender trust. And the last person I also trust is freaking Mark Zuckerberg either. I'm amazed people put their faith in that guy, but I like, for these types of platforms, like the importance of the team and who they are and how they operate is almost more important than their quote unquote accuracy of what's going on.
Well
I
said.
agree.
Well said.
My a little like tea on how we were developing our platform is my business partner / co-founder. He really wanted us to create a secret sauce because he comes from more of like the old school marketing where it's like you have to have a secret sauce in order for you to differentiate yourself in the space. And I came in as, 30 years old going, no, that's stupid, and Jess, you're a pure example of how a consumer has changed their needs and wants and demands answers. It reminds me of back in the day with like Nike and the spread of social media and how it's boomed, right? Do you guys remember? Because I'm a sneakerhead. Rabah, what's up? Remember, like back in the day for Nike, they used to have these competitions where it's like send in your design and you might maybe get a chance to be in the eyes of a designer, a footwear designer, right, at Nike. And all these giant sweepstakes. And the reason why is because they were untouchable. They were just like almost like godlike. And then now in social media, if they don't respond to a comment, they're pieces of shit.
I know.
It's so accessible. It's the same thing with any type of SaaS tool. And again, back to Jimmy Kim, he is the face of Sendlane. And I learned that, Hyros, you've got Alex Becker, you've got myself for Ad Beacon, you've got faces. It doesn't always have to be the case. And then what you said, Jess, was beautiful is who you align with. Even on a SaaS platform, you feel like that ethos, goes all the way through the company. Huge. Game changer.
And there's an interesting case. Like I'm switching over from Clockwise to Reclaim, and I'm testing out Reclaim as a platform. And I asked some questions in the chat or in the friggin' help, whatever. It's like, could be AI. It's actually the co-founder who has been like messaging me and sending me looms on how to do it. And it's like, SaaS it's just an emotional product as Nike sneakers. And if you can build that relationship, like it's going to overwire any pricing issues or any other weird feature deficits or something. And so a lot of SaaS companies lean to the case studies, but like if you can make an emotional connection with someone, you're more than halfway there.
Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. So people have to know you, like you, trust you to transact with you, right? One of the other things that you can do is very early on, if you can make that person feel successful, the automaticity of that relationship will just go through the roof. And so what happens is you just get exactly what you were saying, where I'm going to be either, if something breaks, I can back channel it versus blasting you on Twitter. And like, and just the simple fact of the matter is people won't fire you if they like you. Like eventually, like you can't just be this perpetual underperformer, but like you'll just get so much more grace from people if you're liked and you have this emotional connection and you're giving this value without any reciprocity or expectation of giving this back to me. And so I think that's what, and candidly, dude, that's how you take on the Davids and Goliaths, right? Like if Jimmy was trying to run a Clavio playbook, they just went public. They're a monster. He's not going to win. But what can Jimmy do? Clavio's CEO is definitely not texting people back. Clavio's CEO is definitely not in the code base. Whether it matters or not, that's irrelevant. The perception and the optics and like, damn, this dude is literally running a company and doing this. Like, I think honestly, who does this best is Harley. This guy's a president of $100 billion company. I saw a few days ago. He's tweeting about some dude just made their first $19 sale. Ain't nobody doing that. Like, and so I think that's one way that you can keep empathy with the company is you have some sort of like a Phoenix or something like that, where even as the company grows and grows and grows, like, and Phil Knight was kind of that, but Phil Knight's just not like super likable in that sense. He's just an awesome guy, like with a cool story and just
too. Yeah.
He's really social. He drinks and stuff like that. Oh, pre-social. That's he's a likable guy though. Like he's like a social, likable guy. He's just not him in the sense of he's closer to Toby than Harley, if that makes sense. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But sorry. Go ahead.
Robert, to your comment of like CEOs being super successful or accessible, Phoenix, I'm just curious, like, does AdBeacon offer discounts for people that like invite you on your show or on their show and then like create their own segments for you or anything like that? I'm just curious.
Only if their name is
asking
Jess.
for a friend.
Only if their name is Jess, and only if they write triple whale first.
Okay.
No, yeah, I got you, dude. Look,
I'll put code Jess in there and just see what happens. I don't know.
Code Jess, code fire team. You know what I will say. I love it. No, let's talk shit all day. You know what I will say is this. People are way more compelling than a product.
Yep.
And I can't even tell you how many times somebody has gotten on a demo with me for AdBeacon with the worst expectations, like totally fine too, right? And I'm sure, Jess, you're going to be one of them. And you think it's going to be like this cardboard piece together platform. And then you go on there and it actually is like this disgusting love of mine where I watch people's eyes just open. But it's a testament to the faith that they have in me to even get on the demo as like a, hey, I got your back. I just want to see what I think Rabah was one of them, actually. You know, Rabah, you and I were sitting at the Blue Ribbon event. You kind of peeped over my shoulder, right? This is during the transition. And you looked at it and you're like, oh shit. And that's the thing is it's very scary too, by the way. I'm friends with a lot of like people who are pretty well known in space, including both of your, you know, yourselves. And they don't want to look at the platform because I think they're scared that they're going to be let down, that it's not going to live up to the expectation of the person. And luckily, I've lived up to it, thank God. But, you know, it's just a huge testament to who you are as a person. And then like other SaaS platforms, I'm not going to name names, but there are people that are at the forefront that are not the best representation.
Yep.
And that's the first thing you hear about the platform, but the platform might be awesome. And that's shitty. That sucks for the team. So some thoughts there.
So let's move on to win some merch while we still have some viewers left here.
Let's go. These people made it. They made it.
Putting in work. Who in the chat is gonna win this match?
All right. Nicole, did you put yourself in here? What's going on here?
How do I get it?
That's not how you come on.
Oh, these are killers. Ollie, are we taking bets across the pond? Oh, Colin didn't get in. You're late to the game, Colin.
Wow. All this is wow. Ready to sell my soul,
Lex.
Alexa.
Let's go, Lex.
So who's winning this one? It's all over DTC.
Oh, the boss man didn't even get in? Oh, man.
There's one more. There's one more.
Mike, I better see you wearing this shit and posting all over Twitter.
Barry wants in. Can we can't add more to the wheel?
No, we'll add them to the next wheel. There's another merch item.
Oh, there's only one of these. You know what's actually funny though? These are they reminded me of some of the Pharrell designs. I don't know if you follow him at Louis V, but he has kind of the pixelated one. It reminded me a little bit of that.
Guys, guys, I have merch.
Wow.
Wait, Jess, you have to send this to me. I'll pay you so many dollars.
Wow.
Phoenix, is your name on the wheel right now? No.
Jess. Jess.
So we have
Oh, wow.
we have
What-
Phoenix Solves Attribution Custom, one of a kind, limited
I'm taking a
edition.
screenshot of this. I don't even care anymore.
That's amazing.
So
Air wants in now.
Yeah.
Ari, you guys already have amazing merch. You don't need our merch.
Nicole, feel free to get any like last people in the chat on here. Barry, maybe Colin.
Does Lex not get another run? I think the
Everyone's
boss
like,
man
please don't
Rashad
put my name
wants in.
We're all learning
Abu,
how to
he
use
left?
this wheel too.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I cry on a Friday.
Oh wow. Here we
Here we go. Phoenix, you'll get one anyways. Don't worry.
Let's go!
Taking it
Unbelievable.
upstairs.
The rich keep getting richer, isn't it? The rich keep getting richer. The CEO for co-founder getting free game. Love
Maybe
to
it'll
see it.
trickle down to you.
You give
We'll
me a
see.
Vermont sweatshirt
do.
and I'll
Yeah.
wear it and we'll wear it together in a picture.
We're going
Yeah.
pretty hard in we're going Oh, I love it. Is that all we have? Just 2 giveaways. That's it.
Yeah. So I think
Okay.
this we'll do more next time.
Yeah, we should bring people on or something and do like the prices right, like to have to guess the price, like over under prices or something.
Yeah.
I feel like this is great though. This is great.
All right, and then we have one last segment here. Thank you to the chat for everyone who's sticking around.
Awesome.
You guys did it. You guys did it.
This segment willed itself into existence.
Whoop whoop, that's the sound of the police. Rabah's on the loose and he's got a new piece.
He's got a new piece.
Okay. First off, I don't hate it, but you had the opportunity to do the funniest thing in the world.
What's that?
Why is Bad Boys not the soundtrack for this?
There you
Come
go.
That was so much
on,
more
that's a
fun.
miss.
We get
That
a
is
copyright
for-
strike. What are you talking
that's-
about?
Oh, do you really?
Yeah,
We'll
probably.
get we'll get
Honestly,
that.
Jess, like
Just back it up.
very, very impressed. Very impressed. These
He doesn't
songs
miss,
are
does
just,
he?
No.
I'll
Not
get
even
just a
little
whole
bit.
I'll get our jingle guy to do a Bad Boys cover, and we'll see.
Yes, exactly. Loves. Okay, so I'm going a little bit cheating because I'm sitting across a few things, but I'm doing the home edition of Cops and Robbers. So there was a few things here. One, I went crazy with my Hue lights. So there's a really cool little glow rock that I bought now, which is actually kind of cool, the Hue glow rock. And then
Okay.
I got these little light bars as well, which are pretty cool. And then I got a light strip to do that. Okay, cool. That's my lighting, all the mood lighting. Then I hate like light switches. So I got this Italian, it's called an IOTI. It's this glass Italian like light panel that I can now talk to. So now everything's wired up. And then the last thing is because I rent my apartment, I don't own it. So
Mhm.
you can buy these things called Rise. And I can't be bothered to actually like move my shades up and down. And so you can actually install these shades like retroactively that move your shades up and down. So that's the Rabah home thing. So go grab some Hue lights, the Rise, and then the IOTI.
How is the IOTI different than just Alexa? Because I have all my lights tied into Alexa.
Oh, because it's the faceplate. So it's you're literally changing the light switch.
Oh,
And then it makes your
interesting.
light switch smart. So I have like in my apartment, I have a like a 3-way light switch. Like one's the fan, one's
Got
like
it.
the art light that displays it, and you just put that over it. And so it not only does it look gorgeous because it's literally like an Italian design, like super douchey move, but it has like a backlight and everything. But now it makes it so I can say, "Hey Alexa, turn on my fan," or "Hey Alexa, turn the art light to 20%," et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's definitely. I'm very, very much so Taurus. But I actually got this mic from DoorDash, Colin, because American lost my luggage, so I
A
had to
lava
do
lamp of mics.
a little DoorDash one. Yeah, it's one of those gamer ones, but hopefully we're coming in loud and clear. But anyways, sorry, but that's the Cops and Robbers. If you want to go upgrade your homes, go grab some Hues, which are actually really expensive. Don't recommend them. The Light Strip, not so much. The IOTI, really expensive, but super awesome. And then the Rises. The Rises are really cool, but you got to be a little nerdy when you get into this stuff because there's a little bit of like here and there. But once you kind of get it all set up, it's really nice because you can do the Alexa routine. So I'll just say, hey, good night, Alexa, or hey, good morning, Alexa. And then all the awesomeness happens.
We'll put affiliate links in the description, I'm sure.
Yes, we gotta pay for this merch somehow.
Right.
And the bad boy jingle.
So that's the last segment. Phoenix, don't go anywhere. There's something else. But wanted to thank the chat for sticking around. This is definitely an MVP, but I think it went surprisingly well. What do you guys think?
We're just here to surprise. Honestly, your production I think this show is gonna take off, like if it hasn't already. It's so good already.